Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Answers podcast special edition. This is part 2 of our WrestleMania 37 review. In part 1, we reviewed Night 1, and in part 2, unsurprisingly, we're going to review Night 2. As I was in the first episode, I'm of course joined by my co-host, Joebot22.
What's
And
up,
I think,
bros? Sorry, I had to keep the Wrestlemania going.
yeah, I think we'll
It's a
just
whole
crack
year
on.
until I can do it again. I've got to keep the Wrestlemania going.
Yeah. So I think we'll just crack on really. Match number 1 of night 2. Titus and Hogan I think came out before this match as well and
Yeah, they got the
said
pirate
something.
costume.
Yeah. I didn't actually pay attention to what they were saying. I just remember they said something.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just classic Wrestlemania mumbo jumbo.
yeah. But we'll crack on with match numero uno. Randall Keith versus The Fiend. There was a hype promo for this, wasn't there?
It was the least hype thing ever. I remember messaging you and saying that it was pretty boring, the hype promo. I mean that's pretty much the entire feud. It's just stupid. They're going
Yeah.
for like a classic Kane versus John Cena, which we talked about before.
Yes, we have,
Sort
yeah.
of feud. It's like, oh, I'm big scary man, but you're gonna beat me.
Embrace the
And
hate, John. Oh, no, that
yeah,
was that Kane or
yeah,
was that the other one?
I think that was Kane. Oh,
Mm.
they'll tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah,
But
all 3 people who watch. Yeah, so
actually, got it wrong.
probably less, yeah. Um, so Randy comes out first. He's got new gear for once. I'm shocked he actually could be bothered to get new gear. He got white and I think it was like a brownish red, was it?
Yeah,
Something
everyone
like
had that same color scheme. Like Edge had it,
that. Yes, yeah. Everyone was using white.
Biggie had it.
Apollo had it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yes, yeah. So Randy comes out, takes him bloody ages, but there's no change there. Then, Alexa comes out, not the
I,
Fiend.
I love the Firefly Funhouse scene. Where is the
Yeah. The one
Really?
thing I
Oh, I
noticed
love it.
about Alexa is because she's so short, she looks like she's actually 12. Like she legitimately looks like a child.
She does.
Like except for that weird fucking eye makeup she had that made her look like a fucking witch. Other than that, like she looked like a 12-year-old and it was really, really jarring.
It,
Um
it was
I
pretty
remember
good.
The Fiend's entrance had some really crap effects on it as well, where it's like him and he's like all burnt up, and he's
Oh
walking through a
yeah.
tunnel,
Oh
and then
god.
it just
CG.
like
Oh.
it just like morphs into his normal attire, and it looked so terrible.
It was absolutely disgusting. The
Yeah,
CGI.
it was terrible.
But yeah, we move on, I guess.
Yeah, so there's a big box
Yeah, big music box.
and yeah, big music box, and Alexa starts cranking it, and cranking that Soldier Boy. Uh,
Can I just
starts
say she
cranking the
was
music
really
box.
struggling.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like she was actually having a hard time cranking it. Probably because she's so short and she's like having to like stretch really high just to actually turn it.
She did the thing where she got all the way over, then she had to pause at the bottom, then
Yeah,
slowly pull it back up, oh, and then we go forward again. It was
Yeah,
She wasn't on time with the music at all. But
yeah,
that's just a pet peeve of the
yeah.
person. But
But when he actually came out of the box, he just sort of stood on top of it for like nearly like a full minute, and
he
oh my
was
god,
very cautious as well. He looked like he was trying not to fall off.
yeah,
I think the box was very like fragile. Maybe it wasn't built that well because
yeah,
he looked like he thought it was going to collapse, which it's not the best thing for a big scary man to be scared of falling off a box.
yeah.
But we'll get into why I don't like the theme in it. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
So we had Bray comes out of the box and he jumps out and he clotheslines Randy. I think he hit a Uranage, which looked nice. And then he did he did a little tribute to Luke Harper, which I thought was lovely. Did the yeah thing. So yeah, fair play. Then Wyatt started gearing up to do the punt kick, which they didn't reference that it was the punt kick on commentary, but like I know the pose he was doing. Like he was getting ready to fucking knock Randy's head off his shoulders. Randy side suplexes Bray onto the announce desk, but Bray just no sells it, which I thought was shit. He locks a mandible claw on, but Randy just gets out of it, gets back in the ring. Then he hits the vintage Orton, as Cole calls it, the draping DDT. Bray no sells it. Then he just hits another one, and then Bray actually sells it. And then he throws Bray out of the ring, and then Bray just starts getting right back in. And then he hits another draping DDT. And then he's about to hit an RKO, but Bray reverses the RKO into a mandible claw. And then he goes from the mandible claw into the position for the Sister Abigail. And as he's about to hit it, the pyro goes off on the ring posts, right? And then Alexa comes out of the box and she's got like black fluid pouring out of her head. She's got new contact lenses in. She's just sitting there. And that distracts Bray enough for Randy to hit an RKO and get the 3 count.
Oh, so stupid, man. I hated that
I
match.
I've literally just that's the entire match. This was a match that has been built to for about 5
Mum.
months. But this has
Yeah.
been building since last year,
Oh,
and
it's just
that's
it's
it.
just ridiculous, man.
It was it was nothing.
Bad,
It,
bad.
it was nothing. It was 5.5 minutes long, is what it was actually. It was five and a
I,
half minutes of no selling, vintage Orton DDT, and the finish. That's all it was.
I,
It was. I,
it's stupid.
I don't know what to say for it because I can't put into words how much I dislike this match. But the thing is, I can't give it like a 0 on the ratings, right? Because
I'm
that
giving it a 1.5.
no, that's what I've given it. I've given it a 1.5 because, right, it's only getting the 1.5 because I liked the makeup that they'd done for Alexa Bliss while she was in the box.
Yeah, I agree.
And at least the giant box played into the finish
Yeah,
because it was still sat at ringside. And I think Randy threw Bray into the box at one point,
you did.
which
Yeah.
at least they're using the surroundings, I guess. That's all I can say for it. It was shocking. It was fucking awful. Genuinely a
I,
waste of a wait. The entrances in total took longer than the match. Like, it was a
probably, yeah,
waste of
no, it
time.
genuinely did.
It was a
But
massive, massive waste of time.
I would go on a giant rant about why I didn't like the Fiend in the match, but I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, there's
It
not.
probably my rant would probably be longer than the match.
Yeah, like,
But
there's no point on going on a big rant for it because, like, what is there to really rant about? It's just he
he
doesn't.
was
Nothing
just
happened.
oh, he was just built as a guy who doesn't get exhausted. There was Bray in the match.
Yeah, he's fucking
He was
gassing
fucking
out.
knackered. He was
He's
knackered. It just
absolutely
took me out
shattered.
of it. Took me out of the illusion. I hated it.
It was
One and a
yeah,
half.
it was not a good match at all. Like I say, the only redeeming factor was the attires looked nice.
They did look nice there.
That was it. That's the most effort anyone put into the match.
Right,
I don't even want to talk about it. We'll just move straight on
let's
to
move on.
a match. I don't even think you watched this, did you? It was the women's tag match.
No, no, I didn't.
Nattie and
Sorry.
Tamina versus Naira and Shayna. Now, I went into this with very low expectations, right? Because this is a tag match that nobody cared about, with half of the wrestlers in this match being crap. Nattie and Shayna are the only ones who can actually have a good match, typically. And to be fair, they started the match against each other. However, that doesn't last, and Nia tags in after Nattie and Shayna have like a little grappling scuffle thing. The reason I didn't say anything about the entrances is because there's nothing to say. They didn't have like any special entrances, which I'm surprised for Nia. I'm surprised she didn't come out on a fucking minibus or something. But Nia gets tagged in after Shayna and Nattie have a bit of a scuffle. Then Tamina tags in after Nia like goads her into tagging in. Then Nia and Tamina have a headbutt off where they just keep headbutting each other, which, okay, I can sort of get that, because obviously Nia's Samoan and Tamina is, like, her dad obviously is from like the islands, so like the gimmick of Samoans and people from the islands of like the Oceania gimmicks are generally they've got really hard heads, which is a strange gimmick, but it's always stuck with Samoans and Islanders. Tamina and Nattie actually worked well together. I'm surprised at how well they worked. They hit a lot of tag maneuvers and stuff. Nattie gave a nice German suplex to Shayna. They kept hitting tag moves, and there was a really like rough looking one, not rough like bad, like the move was done badly, rough like it looked rough to take, where Nattie catapulted Shayna into a super kick from Tamina, and it looked like it caught Shayna properly in the jaw, and fair enough. Then Shayna pretty much shatters Nattie's jaw as revenge by kneeing her so hard in the face that like they had to replay it twice. Shayna just keeps battering Nattie here. Nattie, like, she's just barely kicking out. She starts making a comeback against Nia, hits big discus clothesline, but then Nia hits a big spine buster to stop that comeback. And Natalya wasn't going to kick out, but Tamina breaks it up. Then Nattie starts trying to do like a hot tag into Tamina. She misses the tag at first. Like she fucks up trying to tag in Tamina. But Tamina, obviously when she does tag in, she has like the big hot tag spot. She runs roughshod on Shayna. She gets a 2 count from a big Samoan drop on her. She goes up to the top rope to hit a Superfly Splash, but Nia stops her. And Nia somehow manages to get off the top rope for a cross body to Tamina and Nattie, and I was like, God damn, fair enough. She keeps like shit talking Tamina, like, I was always the better one of the two, because obviously they used to be a tag team. Tamina manages to get Naira up for a body slam, which I thought that's quite impressive, considering Naira is quite large, to say the least. Tamina then goes for a superfly splash, quite hard to say, but Naira dodges out of the way. She tags in Nattie. Nattie reverses a Samoan drop by Naira and manages to lock in a sharpshooter on Naira, but Shayna comes into the match as Nattie's got her locked in the sharpshooter and locks her in the Kirifuda clutch. And Nattie passes out in the submission. And you know what? I liked this match. I hate to say it, but this was leaps and bounds better than the first match. Whether that be the first match of the card, it was better than the first match of the card, but it was also much better than the Tag Team Turmoil match. And it seems weird, like saying this, but the one constant in the good part of the first match, and then obviously this match, the constant is Tamina, which is obscene. Tamina somehow I don't get it. Tamina somehow made each match better.
Yeah, I mean, after hearing your 2 cents on it, I might have to go watch it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
obviously haven't seen it, so if
legitimately.
you wanna hear my score on it, then I'll probably say it in the next one, the next episode after this. So,
Yeah,
uh,
legitimately, right? I think this is one of the best women's tag matches I've seen in quite a while. Like,
wow,
it was so much better than the first match of the show. Like, I think this probably would have been better opening the show than that, because the first one just made everyone angry. Like, I think I said it in our chat we've got. Uh, Everyone booed the finish to the first match. Like, everyone is very
yeah,
audibly booing it. And then this one, the crowd were actually behind Tamina. Like, I don't know how she's done it, but Tamina is legitimately becoming a good wrestler and a fan favorite. Just not in
I mean,
singles matches.
I've never really liked Tamina, but I mean, if she's finally becoming good, then that's great. I mean,
Yeah, no, honestly, like,
I
I think
want
the
her to be
last,
good, but
like, in both of these matches at WrestleMania, she's been probably the best part of them both. And I never ever thought in my life I would say Tamina's the best part of 2 WrestleMania matches, but it's just the truth. It I don't get it. But yeah, if I were to give this 1 out of 5, give it 3 and a quarter. And you might say, "Oh, it sounded like you were probably gonna give it higher." Do remember, like, I'm still I'm saying this is much, much better than the first match. The first match, I gave a 1.5 stars, and then the other one, I gave 2 stars. So
yeah.
it's like, it's a marked improvement. It's still not like a great match. It's definitely a good match, don't get me wrong, but, like, there's no heat behind anyone. Like, the only real storyline in this entire match is Tamina and Naira used to be tag partners. But yeah, I think 3.25 stars. I think that's fair to give this match. If you
Pretty fair.
obviously you haven't watched it, I would say it's definitely worth giving it a watch. It's not like a long match. I think it's only like 9-10 minutes long. Yeah, fun match. And talking of fun matches, we move on to match numero 3, which I'm sure you were looking forward to the most. It's Kevin Owens versus Sami
Oh, here we
Zayn
go. Here we go.
with
Turn down the
Logan
speakers,
Paul.
guys, because this match. Oh, it annoys me every time Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fight each other. I snore. It's so annoying. We've seen it 10 billion times, and they just keep getting better. Like, why? Why are they getting better? It's
Fight
a match.
forever.
It's they're
Fight
just oh
forever. Fight forever. Well, it's because it's a match that it's
oh
a
they just
match that
work so
everyone
well
likes.
together.
Yeah, that's why they keep booking it, is because they work so well.
I mean, the
And
best
also
friends.
because
It's
yeah,
it,
and also
it's
because they
it.
don't have any feuds for them. So best thing to do is just stick them against each other.
The only thing that took away from this match, and I think it took away from a lot of matches during Mania, is commentary. They just kept saying, "Oh, Logan Paul, he's a YouTube star. Logan
Yeah,
Paul's in the crowd, guys.
the
Logan
commentary was
Paul,
poor.
Sami Zayn. We got the conspiracy theory documentary. Logan Paul, guy." I'm just like, "Oh, shut the fuck up. No one cares. No one's sitting
Well,
there
I was
just like,
gonna
oh,
say, like
love
the
Logan Paul."
build package they had before the match, they spent like a good minute focusing on Logan Paul and like showing like how many subscribers he's got, all the views he gets, stuff like that. Like they showed
No
like
one cares about
they showed
Logan
clips from
Paul.
the fight with KSI. Like you know why you don't need to show us all this. And, I guess to the people that don't know Logan Paul, I guess they need to know
Yeah,
like he's a big he's a big star. 23 million subscribers on YouTube. Uh, he's multi-millionaire. He had one of the biggest events in internet history with the fight against JJ. Like he's a big commodity for the company. I would say probably for me he's bigger than Bad Bunny. I'm probably wrong
oh
there,
yeah,
but like
definitely.
Bad Bunny is a way for WWE to exploit the Latin market. Obviously, we're not Latin, so Bad Bunny sings all his songs in Spanish, so we're not going to understand a fucking word of what he says in them, right? Because he's from Puerto Rico. You know, Logan Paul in an English-speaking market is going to be bigger than Bad Bunny, and that's why I was so annoyed by what the fuck Pete Rosenberg was saying, where he was like, "Bad Bunny, if you don't have Bad Bunny, then you're a stinky virgin," and it's like, well, no, because
I'm not Spanish.
we don't live in a Latin um, community, and also in the UK charts, he's not big. Like, I think he's been in he's been in the UK top 40 twice,
I mean, in
which
America,
fucking
there
KSI's
are a
been in
lot
the
of
UK top 40 more times than Bad Bunny, right? Put in that
in
perspective,
America.
KSI got a number 2.
It's very Spanish dominated.
Yes,
Well, not
yeah,
dominated
no,
in
yeah.
America.
Obviously, in the
There are a
US,
lot of
there's a
communities.
much higher Latin contingency in the US than there is in Britain. So it's
So I can
different
see
for
why you
us.
would say it, but
Yeah, but the
yeah,
thing
he
is,
is the
WWE is trying to market to an international market, and yes, the Latin market is very large because obviously, there's a lot of people in South America and like places like Mexico and stuff where they can exploit the Latin market because there's a big gap in the market in the Latin market. Like in South America, I couldn't tell you like a big South American wrestler other than like I think there's been like a couple of Brazilian guys before, and like that's it. I couldn't tell you a single one. So using Bad Bunny to try and make their way into the Latin market, I rate them for it. However, to an English-speaking market like our own, and obviously Pete Rosenberg is talking to the English-speaking market on the pre-show, because there's literally a Spanish version of the pre-show that happens like before the actual pre-show, right? Because I noticed this, they do it's called like La Previa de WWE, and it's literally just like a Spanish version of the kickoff. So they do a Spanish version of the kickoff. Stop trying to fucking tell us, the English speaking market, that he's huge in the English speaking market when he isn't. You know?
Yeah. But no. Anyway, back to the
Yeah, back to Logan Paul,
the
Jake
match.
Paul, any of the Pauls. Sami comes out first, and then he introduced Logan, who, Logan's got some drip, but not as much drip as Omos. Omos's drip
That is
is
true.
Omos is like
He did look very
tier zero
stylish,
drip.
Logan.
He did. He's got the drip, but not as much as Omos. Then Kevin comes out. He's got his KO Mania 5 top on because it's his 5th Mania. Fair play. He looked
I like
he
that
was really, really
reoccurring
fired up.
attire.
Yes, yeah. He was really fired up coming to the ring, actually. Like, he looked like he was ready to kick a fucking wall down for some reason. Fucking
I love Kevin Owens'
sorting lines.
attitude in this match. It was very.
Yeah, it was good.
He had a
It's
big
because Kevin
presence
Owens is
about
good,
him,
isn't
which
it?
I like.
Yeah, well, it's because Kevin Owens is very good, isn't he?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Kevin Owens.
But the match started, Zayn runs at Owens and he just straight up pop-up power bombs him.
Yeah.
And then like Owens just keeps battering him. He does they do the suplex hang up thing where they like land him on the top of the ropes. He did one of them on Sami,
Yep.
and it looked painful. It looked awful. It didn't look awful, but it looked awful for Sami, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then he hits the cannonball. Cannonballs. I don't like the cannonball that much, It's one of those moves where it's like,
Mm,
I just don't like it.
it's okay. I mean,
Yeah, there's worse moves.
definitely.
But yeah, I remember Zayn, he did like a big suplex to Owens on the ring apron as well. I remember it cuts to like Logan, because one thing to know about this match is they cut to Logan a lot, just like wincing at like ringside. He's just watching it like, oh god, oh, like he's definitely playing it up for the camera. But
He
um,
is.
Zayn hits what Michael Cole called a Blue Thunder Bomb, but what actually was a Michinoku driver. He hits a Michinoku driver, gets a 2 count. Sami goes for a superplex, but Owens knocks him off the top, hits a big frog splash. Like, he got some massive air on it for a 2.5. Then Owens hits a pump handle neck breaker, I think it was. It looked fucking sick. Like, Owens, one thing I will say about Owens is he has some cool looking moves, like the pump handle
He
neck
does.
breaker, the package pile driver. Like, he did a fisherman suplex later on in the match that looks sick. Like, he's so good. But yeah, Zayn reverses an attempted package pile driver into an exploder suplex, which I thought was fucking sick. Zayn reverses the stunner into Blue Thunder Bomb. Then he hits like, did he hit? He hit like 2 or 3 brain busters back to back. But Owens still kicks out of them. Then they do they do like the brawling spot where they keep punching each other at the same time.
Yeah.
Did one of them in the corner. Owens reverses a superplex to hit like a twisting fisherman suplex off the top rope, and it looked sick as hell. Then as Owens in the corner, Sami hits like a big haluva kick. and he goes for a second one, which Owens reverses with a super kick. Then he hits another super kick and gets him back up to his feet, to hit a stunner and win the match.
Yep. I think it's an incredible match.
Yeah, I thought it was short as well. I think this is another one that felt short,
Yeah,
but different to some of the other ones. I think this was better short because all this match needed to be was Owens battering Zayn, and that's what we got.
there was no point where I felt it was stale, which
Oh no! I think this was like I struggled to take notes on this without pausing it, just because so much was happening so quickly.
yeah.
And like that's not a
I
bad
was really
thing.
enjoying it. I
Yeah,
was like
like
on the
it
edge of
was
my
really
seat.
enjoyable. Yes, yeah. It was really enjoyable match. Really good stuff. I think, like I say, it was short, but it didn't feel short when I was watching it. Like looking back on it, it was quite short, but it felt like it was the perfect length. And I still think it's the perfect length. Just obviously, it was only like 10 minutes long, but that's all it needed to be. You know, they did all
Yeah.
their big spots. Owens battered Zayn, and then Logan comes into the ring, tries to congratulate Owens or something. He like beats Sami up, or he throws Sami away or something. Sami runs off because Sami's like getting lippy with him. He's like, "Whoa, Owens!" And then Owens gives him the stunner, which
He sold so
terribly.
well.
Really?
What?
I thought he sold it like because the way he took it, like he immediately flopped onto his back when he took it. Like I thought he was going to take it like what's it like Scott Hall, where
He
take it
did a
he, like
proper Dolph Ziggler where he just fucking flopped about.
no wait he dead fish sold it like Vince McMahon used to do. Like have you seen the clip of when Austin first stunners Vince McMahon and like he sells
No,
it by
I've not seen
he
it.
flops over Austin and just sort of lies there. And I don't like that kind of selling for a stunner. Like when I think of like the best people who ever sold the stunner, I think of Scott Hall. I think of when The Rock takes the stunner. I think Shane McMahon sells a stunner really well as well.
I don't know. I mean, it's a stunner. You're meant to be lying there. You're meant to be stunned. You know, I think Logan Paul took it really well, but that's obviously a point of debate. But
Yeah,
I, don't know. I've been seeing some contrasting opinions. Some people are just like, oh, it's not that good, but some people are like, it's pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they'll do much more with WWE, but we'll have to see.
yeah.
But no.
I mean, yeah. I think at this point, well, he was saying on whatever I think it's called like the bump or something. He was saying on the bump, he's more than happy to work with WWE again, and apparently KSI wants to work with them as well. So you know what that will mean? We're gonna get we're gonna get the Logan Paul KSI rematch at WrestleMania. Oh god. But the
Oh.
thing is, JJ does have experience with wrestling because he did actually have a match. I think I've told you this before. He had a match back in like 2015, back when he was still just like a FIFA YouTuber at the time. But I remember because I obviously I've been a fan of KSI for years and years. This was like not long after I first started getting into it. And like I was into wrestling at the same time, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I watched the match, and it was crap. But to be fair, like it was always going to be crap because
Yeah.
it was JJ. He'd never wrestled in his life against some fucking indie jobber. Like
But no, that was uh, so what we giving the
I
match then?
really
I'm
enjoyed
giving
this
it.
match. Yeah, I've given it
I'm
four
going to give
stars.
it. Wow, I've given it three, 3 3/4.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Yeah,
it wasn't as good as
I've
Sasha and
given
Bianca and
I've given it
Lashley and
four because
Reigns.
I
Not Reigns.
legitimately right. I
True.
think the only reason I've said this is better than Bianca and Banks, Banks and Belair, is because, like I said with that one, that felt like it was missing half of a match. This didn't.
True. They did
This
work
felt
well
the
with the
perfect
length.
length. This felt the perfect length, which is why I've said I'm more than happy to give this a higher rating.
The only reason I've put it lower than Bianca and Sasha is because there wasn't enough emotion with Owens and Zayn. Like
Yeah, well,
at,
it
at,
wasn't
at
as like emotional.
at the
I get
start,
you.
obviously, there was more aggression from Owens, but that was really the only emotion we got.
Yeah, I get
It
what
was
you mean.
more it was more stale. But then again, there was the line where it's like, "You did this to yourself," and then like he's done his own, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That, that was a bit of emotion, brought a
yeah,
bit of a tear. But that's pretty much it, really.
yeah. Well, before match 4, Riddle had a little promo backstage with the Great Khali, where Riddle
Oh
just act like a giant fucking child for a bit, and he was trying to get Great Khali to start selling giant scooters or something, and it was
ridiculous.
awful. And
Yeah,
then RVD shows up and he's like, I can't even remember what he said. I just remember he gave Riddle some rolling papers because, you know, RVD and Riddle both smoke weed. Get it? You know, they
yeah,
they
no,
smoke weed. That's it.
that's oh, for God's sake. But
Then,
yeah,
so we get match 4 now. Uh, Riddle versus Sheamus.
I thought it
Shamo
was
comes out
really good.
first. And you know what? Sheamus looks the exact same as he did like 5 years ago. Well, probably more than 5 years ago now, but closer to like 7 or 8 years ago. Like he looks the same. I don't get it. He doesn't look like he's aged at all. It's ridiculous. Fair fucking play to him. One thing I did notice as well is they used the 8K camera for his entrance, and it looked cool as fuck. Where it's like you know, like the background's all like blurred and it's like super focused on Sheamus, and it looked really sick.
Yeah, it did look
Um,
cool actually.
yeah. Riddle didn't get the 8K camera. Um, he just came down to the ring on a scooter because, yeah. And then I
I don't know why,
think
but Riddle just annoys me. He's just
his character's annoying, yeah. But
it's just
then
stupid.
as he was doing his entrance, there was some funny looking CGI as well. I think I only like noticed it at the last second, but there were some like CGI birds that showed up at the
Oh
end.
God.
Some like doves with
Oh my
hats
God.
on,
The fucking yeah.
and it looked so incredibly terrible. It's so bad. Oh
They were
my
just hovering in front of the camera for like a good 5 seconds. I was just like, oh,
god, what's going on?
okay.
It looked
That was
awful.
fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
completely forgot about the birds. But yeah.
yeah. So bell rings, and Sheamus starts out in control. Actually, I remember he's doing like a lot of like joint manipulation, like he's fucking not Keith. What's his name? Pete Dunne. Like he's Pete Dunne. He's like bending his fingers and hands back and stuff. He hit like a really cool looking swinging urinage. So it's like got him in like a body slam position, and he swung him around and hit with the urinage. It looked really nice. And then like Riddle starts fighting back. He gets Sheamus in an armbar across the ropes, but Shamo gets out and he hits the 10 beats of the Bodran, or how do you pronounce that? Then Sheamus, for some reason, goes to the top rope. I can't remember why. I mean, I've never really seen Sheamus go up to the top rope, but you know, whatever. He goes up to the top rope, but Riddle like he runs up to the top rope and he catches him with a belly to belly. It looked really nice as well. The belly to belly is like a proper, he didn't release or anything. He did a proper like big jump one. So fair fox. Riddle kept on reversing Sheamus' strikes at this point, and like he's starting to get back in control. He hits a nice exploder suplex, which he follows up with a senton, which I think they called it the Broton or some shit like that. It sounded awful. Then he hit a jackhammer. Well, he failed to get him up for a jackhammer properly. Then he hit another one right after, which I thought was cool. Then he goes for a tombstone, which I think is called like the Broderick, which I think is a horrendous name. Yeah, he goes for the tombstone, but Shaymo gets out of it, and then he hits like a big bro kick. He gets a near fall out of that. Then he gets him up, hits him with an Alabama slam as well, gets a near fall from that. Then they sort of battle out onto the outside. Riddle hits Shaymo with a suplex on the ring apron. He lands a dive, does a moonsault off the second rope onto Sheamus as well. Gets him back in the ring and he hits a cool looking corkscrew senton thing. Gets a near fall from that. Then he tries to lock on the bro mission. Shaymo reverses. Sheamus goes to the top rope with Riddle on his shoulders to hit a white noise. Gets reversed. And then he goes for another one. And he slips, like he falls off. I think he goes up to the top rope to hit it. He falls off the top rope, but he still manages to land on his feet and hit it. Obviously, like he falls off the top rope. He has to make do with what he's got, so he just hits like a normal white noise. Then he jumps off the top rope with a big knee drop, gets another near fall. Shaymo does the whole bro thing in the corner, but Riddle manages to get out of the way and reverse it. And then Riddle goes springboards off the middle rope with a moonsault. And Sheamus catches him in midair with a bro kick, and that looked so painful. Oh my god. And yeah, he gets the 3 count out of it. And you know what? I think I've seen a finish like that before, and I'll tell you where I've seen it. Adam Cole versus Ricochet.
Oh.
Because they did the same thing, but with a super kick.
But no, I enjoyed the Sheamus versus Riddle match. It wasn't the best match at all, but it was definitely more technical.
I was going to say, like, I thought it was like a much more hard hitting match than really anything else other than the main event on the card. I thought
it was very visually pleasing.
Yeah, I think it was obviously there was a lot less like emotion behind this match. Like the entire build was Sheamus. Well, I think in the promo thing they showed like Sheamus whacked Riddle with Riddle's scooter, and it's like, is that it? And that really was it. So
Great.
it's whatever. But
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Honestly, I think I've probably given it a higher rating than you. I've given it 3 3/4, which is actually it's the same I gave Belair and Banks, which it sounds a bit crazy, but bear with me, right? I thought this match, it was a proper like hoss, like big hard hitting match, and that's my kind of match. I love to see 2 fucking big fellas slapping each other really hard. It's why I like New Japan does it a lot. They've got like a load of big hoss guys over there, and they just have matches where they just beat the piss out of each other. And this reminded me of that. And obviously, it wasn't like as good as some of the ones over there. But I thought if this was a proper feud rather than Sheamus hit Riddle with his fucking scooter, I think this match could have been a lot better. and it would that's already building on a very good base level that they've got here. But for me, yeah, I think this is one of the best matches of night 2, which sounds like sacrilege, but genuinely, it's a really good match for me. So yeah, I'll give it 3 3/4.
Well, so let's have a see. Did you rate it higher than I did? Drum roll, please. I gave it a 3.5.
Wow.
But yeah, it was definitely more technical. But again, I don't feel like it had the same build up or
Oh yeah,
emotion,
it
or
didn't have the same amount of emotion behind it, but
it was definitely one of the most overlooked matches. I don't think many people are really talking about it that much.
yeah.
Which is a shame, really. But
Oh yeah, no, because it's a really good match.
it was really
Don't get me
best
wrong, it
match
was a
I've seen
really
in a
good
while.
match. I think it was. The problem with it was just there's no real emotion behind it. There's no
Yeah,
build.
there's no
If there
reason
was
to
a build,
care.
and there was a reason to care, I think I'd probably be giving this 4 and 1/4.
Yeah,
But
I'd
because
maybe.
there's just no real reason for these guys to fight other than Sheamus doesn't like the fact that Riddle's the champion and he rides a scooter. Which, to be fair, I don't like that either. But, whatever. He's a grown man. He rides a fucking scooter to the ring and wears flip-flops and shit. Pissing me off, man.
I also don't like Riddle because I feel like his because he does a lot of kicking moves where he puts his feet in your face. Ugh, I wouldn't
Yeah, and he doesn't wear shoes, and it's like, ugh, grim,
I
mate.
wouldn't want to fight it.
Get out of it.
Like you better wash his feet. But no, all right,
Yeah.
let's just move on
Yeah,
anyway.
we'll
Because
move on to match number
don't talk
5.
about feet.
Big E versus Nigerian Apollo Crews. Not just any Apollo Crews. The
I could not
Nigerian Apollo
give
Crews.
I could not give two shits about this match. Only
Honestly,
the only thing I care about is the finish. Annoyed me so much that I actually slammed my fist on my desk. I was just like, God damn it! It's so I hate Apollo Crews
I
so
don't
much.
hate Apollo Crews. I think Apollo Crews is a good wrestler, right? But he just never gets to show it in a match where he can actually be good, I feel like. He's
He's a
had
great
good matches
wrestler,
in the
but
past.
he either has no gimmick or a bad gimmick, and that's
Yes, and this certainly falls under the second one. Because, oh my god, did you hear his accent?
it is
It's
bad.
bad, man. It is not good. The accent KSI does, where he's pretending
Yeah,
to be that. That sounds better than this. This was this. It sounds like someone's doing a bad impression of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. It sounds like someone doing a bad version of that rather than an
yeah.
actual Nigerian accent. It's fucking dreadful.
It
I'm
sounds like someone trying to be racist. That's what it sounds
it
like.
does. It does.
It it doesn't sound like the best,
Oh,
honestly. And I think it's only hurting WWE more by allowing them to do that. But yeah, it's not great.
it's
It's
poor.
it's like Vince McMahon did it, and he's just like, right, copy it down to a T. You gotta do it exactly how I do it.
Yeah, he's like Vince McMahon. Nearly did the accent. Then I was going to say Vince McMahon just goes. Vince McMahon watched Black Panther once, and he was like, "Who do we
I
have who
want
could
that.
be like that?"
Like they gave him a spear and everything. That is
Well,
just
he didn't even have a spear when he came to the ring. He had a stick with a giant ball on the end of it. What the
uh,
fuck was that? I was
it is
looking at it.
very like
Oh,
I'm offended by it, and I'm not even like
oh my!
I'm
It
not.
was so bad, man.
It's yeah, but
The
that's
gimmick
all we can
was
really say about the match.
yeah.
It's not
The
good.
gimmick is poor. But we'll quickly
Biggie
talk
was
on the
robbed.
entrance. Yeah, we'll talk on the entrance real quick. KS no, oh fuck it. Big E comes out first. It's because I've got in my notes. I've got something about KSI and I've got Wale. So it's
Oh,
Big E comes to the ring with Wale singing in quotations, his entrance theme. I say in quotations because Wale probably sung about 4 lines and then just started lip syncing. because
didn't even notice.
like no, if you pay attention to it, he's lip syncing like 90% of that song that he's singing. Legitimately, he just can't be asked. And I will say Big E's gear was nice.
It did look nice, yeah.
Yes. Then Apollo comes to the ring. Do you know what really pisses me off about this, right? It's the Nigerian drum fight. He's got, you would have thought, considering he's come to the ring on SmackDown a couple times with like pretend members of the Nigerian army, right? You would have thought he would have had a special entrance with like Nigerian drummers or like some army fellas flanking him or something. No,
Yeah.
he just comes to the ring with a big stick and a scarf on. That's it. Like, oh, and the fucking stuff they had at ringside for this match as well. They had a gong, they had some bongos, and kendo sticks, and a table.
They had them just sitting on tables. They used the tables more than the
Yeah,
drum.
they didn't use the drums.
Like, they picked up the gong once, but they just
Yeah,
immediately dropped
no,
it.
exactly. What? Like, didn't he like try and he swung for Apollo with it? Apollo smacked it away, and they never used it again.
It's like they just bought them, like they rented them, and they had to keep
Yeah,
them nice.
yeah. Literally, I think that's it.
So
The one good point I will say is Apollo had the 8K camera from Sheamus's entrance as well, and again that looked cool. Like
yeah,
that camera is fucking sick, I will say. So bell rings. Apollo and Biggie both bail out the ring to go grab kendo sticks, and then they just spend like a minute and a half smacking each other really hard with kendo sticks. I like
yeah,
that.
that was
I
kind of
was gonna
cool.
say I actually quite like that. Um, After they finished like smacking each other, Biggie did the suicide spear, which the one I'm on about, where it's like he gets him on the outside of the ropes and he spears him through it. Every single time I see him do that move, I feel like he's going to injure himself. Like that is a move that looks like it can go wrong very, very easily, and I'm shocked he hasn't fucked it up before. Not because I don't think like he's a good wrestler or anything, but literally because like it looks like there's such a large margin of error in that move. So I guess it means he's a better wrestler than we all think he is because he doesn't fuck up that move. But yeah, I think, but yeah, Biggie sets up the bottom of the stairs on the outside, um, and he's gonna try and I don't know powerbomb Apollo onto it or something. He gets him up on the apron, but Apollo hits a Death Valley driver to get out of it. And I remember Cole was on commentary like, "Oh God, he's gonna slam him onto the stairs." He didn't. Um, that isn't what he did. In fact, he just slammed him onto the apron. Then Apollo takes a really nasty bump as because obviously the stairs are still on the outside. He runs at Big E, who's like just standing up, and Big E does that side like urinage thing he does, and he throws him onto the stairs, and he lands on like his shoulder and his arm, and oh god, it looked so painful. And like they replayed it a couple times, but it looked really, really bad. But after this, Biggie goes out and he goes and grabs the table. Um, Goes out and grabs the table. Apollo gets angry. He goes mad with a kendo stick on Biggie. Hits him probably like 25 times. Um, Apollo goes for a frog splash to put Biggie through the table, but Biggie rolls out the way. And then a very large man in army gear shows up and attacks Biggie. He hits him with his thumb, and then a choke slam, and then he just drags Apollo on top of Biggie for the 3 count. That was it.
Hated that finish
It
so
was
much.
that finish genuinely ruined the match for me because I think if the match went another 5 minutes and they didn't have a shit finish like that, it would have been good. Because there were good spots in the match. Don't get me wrong. I liked a lot of the match, but the finish was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
there
just
are
annoying.
positives. There are positives from this. Big E is now free to go into the world title picture.
Yes. Oh,
And
please.
because what I think is going to happen is, everyone has failed to beat Roman Reigns. Big E hasn't yet. Big E hasn't had the opportunity, and he's being built up as the big single star, right? I think Big E is the man to beat Reigns.
Oh, I hope so. I would cheer so much for that, please. But
Yeah,
no,
honestly, if Big E actually beats him, I will be incredibly happy. But
that's
yeah, I think
so. What we give in the match?
I've given it 2 3/4 because
I'll give it
it.
2.5.
I was going to say the finish genuinely took away like a good half a star for me.
Yeah,
Like the finish was
totally.
so bad that when I was watching it, if the finish was just like he goes through the table and then like he rolls Big E up or something, I would have been like, it's a bit of a screwy finish, but that's fine. But then they had to have a guy come out and he fucking hit him with his thumb, man. He hit him with his thumb. It's so shit, man.
It's annoying, but what are you gonna do? Really? It's
Yeah. Yeah, I
got to
guess.
take it, haven't you?
Yeah, and ultimately, like we say, frees Biggie up to go challenge for this Universal title at like SummerSlam or something. So it can only be a good thing in the long term, I feel. Unless WWE fuck up the booking and then just have him versus Apollo like 90 times.
Which is probably gonna happen.
Yeah, I feel like what's going to happen is they'll have a rematch at I think Backlash is the next pay per view. They'll probably have a rematch at Backlash, and then I don't know. Hopefully, Apollo and B don't have any more matches after that. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, as annoying as the finish is, I think it is probably for the best that Big E starts to move away from like Intercontinental picture and move into World Title picture. And as stupid as the finish is, I guess it works, right? I guess.
yeah, it makes sense. But anyway, should we?
Yes. So now we get the Hall of Fame
Oh
segment
yeah,
for 2021 because obviously we had the 2021. Well, we had the 2020 Hall of Fame yesterday, and now we
I
have the
think this is
2021
the.
today.
Oh, I think this is the only year where I've recognised everyone in the
Mm.
Hall of Fame class.
Yeah. Well, who was it this year? It was Molly Holly, Carly,
Rob Van Dam,
RVD,
Ozzy Osbourne,
Ozzy Osbourne. There's the Warrior Award one, but that doesn't really count. And then
Kane,
Kane, yeah.
and Eric Bischoff
Oh, and
as
Bischoff,
well.
yeah, and Bischoff. But yeah, I think. Oh yeah. When Kane came out, he did the pyro. I'll be
Yeah,
honest, I
I'll be
marked
like,
out a
I
little
got one
bit.
more.
I marked out a little bit when I saw it. Like, I was just sitting there, just like, oh man, I fucking miss Kane. Kane was so fucking good, man.
I know. Oh well,
Like, we'll probably end up covering Kane at some point, uh,
he's a mayor
in the
now.
podcast. But like, he's the boy. What a guy.
He is great.
But now we have another match that I don't think you actually watched.
I didn't watch, no.
That's a shame because Rhea Ripley versus Asuka
I
was
mean,
actually
again, I'll
quite
give my
good.
rating in the next episode, but
Yeah. For my notes here, we've got Rhea Ripley can't cut a promo because they show the promo package, and the one thing I noticed is Rhea Ripley's voice doesn't match up with her character. Like she just sounds too Australian to be menacing. Which I guess you can't really do anything about the fact that she's Australian, but I don't know, it just doesn't work with her character. Like she doesn't sound scary. She just like, Asuka, I'm gonna fucking kick you and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna take your title, Asuka. You fucking can't. But yeah, she can't really even cut a promo, which is a shame because, she's the the Raw Women's Champion? Yes. Yeah, she's the Raw Women's Champion. They get a woman in to sing Ripley's theme, and credit to her. At least she actually sings it rather than Wale, who just didn't lip sync the entire thing. But she wasn't very good at singing it. I'll be honest. I feel no disrespect to her, but she didn't really have a great time singing it. I think because the actual song isn't very good. But yeah, she sounded a bit shite on the mic. Ripley, her entrance is a bit weird. Like she just like sort of stomps around like she's a fucking edgy teenager, which I guess is a gimmick that she's just a big edgy teenager. Asuka comes out next, obviously 'cause she's the champion. Her entrance is a bit lame. Like they shoot some petals out of some cannons to make it look like the Sakura petals on her entrance video. She does have a cool mask though. She's got a cool mask. But yeah, there's not really a lot to say for their entrances. The match starts with Ripley just no selling a drop kick, pretty much. Like she just takes it and just goes nah. Uh, there's a load of roll ups as well. Asuka, Asuka starts taking like an early advantage because she's the veteran. But Ripley's using her, the size and range advantage she's got to reverse Asuka's attacks. And like she starts using her power to try and grind Asuka down a bit. She puts her in like a body scissors for a couple minutes, or not like a couple minutes, but like a minute and a half. And it was here when I realized Ripley is huge. Like she is massive. Like she's not like super tall, but she's wide, like muscle wide. Like she looks like she's got a back. Like her back muscles look the same size as Roman Reigns. Like it's insane how big she is. Um, but yeah, Asuka manages to get Rhea in a knee bar from the body scissors, but she powers out of it, turning it into like a deadlift German suplex, which looks cool. Although the knee bar later starts like showing that it's taking a toll, like she starts like selling her leg a bit. Asuka then hits like a big missile drop kick, and then she starts hitting the bum tackles, which is one of Asuka's favorite moves. She just fucking runs at the rope and just smacks him with her ass. She hits one in the corner, and then she does the like strike combo thing she does, and then she does another bum tackle while Rhea's kneeling. Then Asuka goes back up to the top rope to try and hit another missile drop kick, but Ripley manages to drop kick her off of it, and she lands really awkwardly on the outside of the ring as well, and doesn't look great. Then Ripley goes outside and she starts smacking Asuka, like starts smacking her about. She smacks her face off the apron with an electric chair. It looked pretty brutal. But then Asuka on the apron, like DDT's Rhea off of the apron onto the floor outside. It looked nasty. Like the commentary stopped saying things for a sec because they were like genuinely worried because it looked like Rhea had actually got knocked completely loopy. Like she was like looking like straight upwards, just like, oh god. But then she rolls her back in the ring. She only gets a 2 count from it. But Rhea gets back up. She's all right. She's not been knocked loopy. She locks in like it looks like a rampage. It's Paige's old submission finisher. She locks in like one of them. It's like a standing clover leaf. It looked cool. But Asuka manages to reverse it into an armbar, which itself gets reversed into like a one-arm power bomb, which looks cool. It's like a schoolboy power bomb. Looks cool as fuck. Ripley hits like a big suplex after this to get another near fall. And then Asuka gets an armbar on Rhea, which she then turns into an Asuka lock as Rhea starts trying to break out of the armbar. And then Rhea gets out of the Asuka lock and just hits the Riptide out of completely nowhere to get the 3 count. And there you go. That's your match.
Wow.
I thought the match was I probably haven't done it justice describing it. Like it's a lot better in viewing than trying to describe it to you. But honestly, like I thought this was actually one of the best matches of the card. Which, history would dictate Rhea Ripley wouldn't be having one of the best matches on the card, but she was having one with Charlotte Flair before, and not with Asuka.
God, don't get me started on that match from last year.
Uh,
Ooh, 30
best
minutes.
match, mate.
30 minutes.
It's the best match, mate. What are you on about?
No. But yeah, that's what would you give it? Star rating.
Well, it probably sounds like a lot because, like, the way I've described it, I haven't described it like super excitingly, but mostly because like it's one of those matches where it's hard to describe in words.
Yeah.
Because it's more like it shows off like the physicality of Rhea Ripley and like how she can, she's just like completely dominating, a veteran like Asuka, right? I'm giving it 4 stars, which sounds like a lot.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
legitimately, like I haven't like explained it super well, but when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is really really good. It's a really really good match when I was watching it. But like, yeah, it builds Rhea up to be a proper main eventer. She had a trial
Yeah.
match with Charlotte last year, and that didn't go particularly to plan. But this time round, she's definitely had like a much better match here. I think having the match with Asuka rather than Charlotte. Charlotte wants to be the center of attention. Asuka's more than happy to let Rhea take over here.
Uh,
But yeah,
so
genuinely, I think it's good.
right, I guess
Mm,
should we move on? I can't really say anything
Yes.
about
Well, yeah, we might as well move on. Just before the main event, there was a bit where Hogan and Titus came back out, and then Bailey came out. Words were said. Things happened. I didn't pay attention.
I
Um,
do.
I think the Bellas beat up Bailey at some point. They came back out and beat up Bailey. I just didn't pay attention to that. But then we got to the main event. Edge versus Bryan versus Reigns.
What a match! Oh,
Well, before we get to the match, I want to talk about the hype package. That fucking hype package was so good. Like, legitimately, right? Obviously, we haven't been following wrestling super closely.
yeah.
That hype package literally told us everything we needed to know, and it showed us everything we needed to see. Like, and what it made me realize was Edge's promos in the build to this. Oh my god. Like, we see like clips of his promos, him, like Bryan and Roman, them all giving promos before the match, and Jesus Christ. They were so good. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I've realized Reigns' promo game, since he's become a heel, is leaps and bounds better than it used to be. You know, Bryan's promos were good as well. Bryan's always been a good promo. And edges were like fucking immense. Like, I think I sent you the one from, I think he was on like Talking Smack, where he's given a promo to Paul Heyman, and it's like Edge can manage to single-handedly be terrifying, badass, and a good guy at the exact same time. Like, it's he is levels better than the other two in terms of promo. It's ridiculous.
He is great, but it wasn't the best talking smack promo ever.
Oh, it wasn't. It's not the best
I
talking
think
smack
we all
promo.
know our
It's
favourite.
don't you walk away from me, Daniel. What a promo.
Oh, we've mentioned that every episode now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we always mention it just because it's just that good. Like, it's just
It's
such a
so
good
good.
promo. But yeah, like that hype package was great. And then obviously we get the entrances. Bryan comes out first. His gear's he's got like prints of like flowers and stuff in his gear, and I was like, "You sure you want to be wearing a flower gear for main event of WrestleMania?" But yeah, whatever.
He looked
Then
alright.
yeah, it looked okay. It's just like when you look closer, he's got fucking. He's got like a painting of a flower on each of his boots. It's a bit weird. Then Edge comes out next, and tell you what, I was slandering Metalingus. I don't know if I was slandering it on the podcast. I think I probably was. I was slandering Metalingus, but mate, when I heard that an Edge coming out, that shit hit different.
It does. It
It it
genuinely
hit,
does.
it hits different. When you listen to it on its own, it's not as
It's a bit
good.
crap.
When you
But
have Edge coming out to it, that shit hits fucking like that's the good stuff.
it's always like Royal Rumble 2020. Like that's
Oh yeah, when he comes out of the
feeling.
Rumble, oh my god. And then Reigns comes out last. Um, I'm surprised he hasn't changed his entrance theme, to be honest, because I still hate that entrance theme. Like, it's etched into my skull to just like immediately go, oh, whenever I hear it. I just, I really, really don't like it. And it's not like a
It's not
terrible
great.
entrance theme. It's just like I'm so used to Reigns being terrible that him now being like so good, it doesn't compute with my head just yet. But yeah, Reigns has the 8K camera as well for his entrance, and he looks like $1,000,000 coming to the ring. He does. Like, he since he became a heel has started looking so much better. Like, in terms of like not looking like a big fucking goober. It's great stuff. Paul Heyman as
Uh,
well, coming out with a lay. He had like a lay on over his suit. I just thought that was really funny. Like, he just like waddle into the ring. He's got this fucking like Hawaiian like lay on. And it's like, Mate, it's a fucking main event of WrestleMania, not an office party. Come on. Oh.
But right, let's.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of notes on this match because there's a lot that happens in this match.
It's a long match.
It's by far the longest match of a Mania weekend. Well, maybe not Mania weekend, but of Mania match. Of Mania matches. So the match starts out with Reigns immediately clattering Bryan. And then Edge goes into trying to attack Reigns. I think Reigns knocks him away. Reigns throws Bryan out of the ring into the path of Jey Uso, who super kicks him. And then he does the exact same thing with Edge, and Jey super kicks him. Bryan manages to take Reigns out on the outside with a suicide dive. And Edge takes Uso out of the match by throwing him into some steel steps. And Edge does a weird thing where he starts like slamming Reigns between the ring and the barricade, where he's like going, I do, and like ping ponging him across the ring and the barricade, which I thought was quite cool, to be fair. Then Edge takes Jey Uso properly out of the match with a big DDT onto the steel stairs that are set out at ringside. Then Bryan and Edge get back in the ring while Reigns is still outside. And Bryan starts just unloading kicks to Edge. And then Edge, he's coming back with it's like the downward spiral and stuff like that. Gets a near fall out of that. Bryan hits a big missile drop kick to knock down Edge, and he goes for a suicide dive on Reigns. After he does his comeback thing, he dives out at Reigns, but Reigns catches him mid jump, and he hits him with an overhead belly to belly. And it's here I realise there's a lot of outside the ring stuff going on at Mania. Like in Asuka versus Rhea, there was a lot of outside the ring. In the Nigerian drum fight, there was a lot of outside the ring. It feels like people go there quite a lot when they run out of things to do. But yeah, Reigns starts getting back into the match. Hits like a big clothesline on Edge. He goes for the Superman punch on Edge, but he reverses it into the Impaler DDT. Edge, he starts going like, "Oh, get up for the spear, Reigns." But Reigns manages to catch him with a Superman punch. And then as Reigns goes for the spear, Edge manages to take him down with Sunset Flip. Reigns kicks out the pin, and then the two try and hit spears at the same time. But there's just sort of clatter each other in the shoulder. They're just like bash into each other's shoulders, and then they're knocked down. Then Bryan comes in to the ring, hits a diving headbutt to Edge, then hits another one to Reigns, but only gets a 2 count. And then Bryan starts hitting yes kicks on both men. And then he's going to hit Reigns with the knee plus, but he catches Edge with it instead. Reigns tries to hit the Superman punch on Bryan as he's standing there, but Bryan kicks him right in the gut, and then again in the head, but he only gets a 2.5 count from that. But then Bryan locks on the label lock on Reigns, but Edge breaks it up. Then he puts the label lock on Edge again, but again Reigns breaks it up, and then Reigns just starts pummeling Bryan with a load of hammer fists, and it's just he's just battering Bryan about here, and he power bombs him, he lifts him off the ground and power bombs him onto Edge. And it's here I realised, I think I said it in the first episode, the crowd just kept booing. And it's I'm watching this and I'm like, what are you booing at? Because what you're getting a lot of action in short spaces of time, right? It's good action. But the crowd are just sitting there going, boo! Roman Reigns sucks. Roman Reigns sucks. And it's like, oh, come on, mate. It's not 2016 anymore. Like, we know Roman Reigns doesn't suck anymore, okay? But to be fair, all this like booing and heckling urges Reigns on to smash Bryan through the announce desk with a big power bomb, and he's standing on the steps and he's gloating to the crowd like, "Yeah, you'll acknowledge me now," blah blah blah. And then Edge just comes out of nowhere and spears Reigns off of the stairs he's standing on, crashing onto the floor below. And here, tell you what, Reigns is selling like a madman. Like he's coughing and spluttering like he's been like winded. He's really giving it some socks. Edge then tries, Reigns gets back in the ring after like Edge is hot dogging a bit, waffling. Tries bringing a chair into the ring. Reigns stops him, and a bit of the chair breaks off. And then Reigns starts trying to get him in like a guillotine choke and stuff. So Edge reverses this and throws him like throat first onto the ring ropes. And then he comes off the ring ropes, and Edge locks in a crossface on Reigns. And Reigns he's about to break out of it, but Edge picks up the piece of the chair that had broken off and starts like choking him with that. And I'm thinking, oh my god, he really could actually tap out to that. But as Reigns he's literally like half a second away from tapping. Bryan grabs his arm to stop him from being able to tap, and then locks in the label lock on Reigns while Edge has the crossface on him too. So Reigns is just like he's suffering. He's suffering bad. But like Edge is like, let go, and Bryan's like, no, you let go. And then they start like headbutting each other while they've still got the lock on. And then like they headbutt each other so much like that they break the lock, and Bryan like comes out on top. Obviously they both let go of Reigns, but he's taken out Edge, and Bryan starts doing the stomps that he started doing when he was the Planet's champion. Like he used to do them against AJ Styles, but now he's doing them against Edge. And he's targeting Edge's neck, and it's like ooh baby. And he's in the corner. He's ready to hit the knee plus. But Edge counters it with a big spear. And as Reigns comes around to try and Superman punch him, Edge spears Roman as well, and he's about to win. Ref's about to count the 3. Roman ain't going to kick out, but Bryan pulls the ref out the ring to stop the count. Then, I think Edge takes Bryan out again in the ring. Edge slides out, grabs 2 chairs, and then a third one to smack Bryan and Reigns again. Just, floor him back down again. And then Edge just uses the other 2 chairs to set up concertos, which he manages to get the one off on Bryan. But as he's about to do it on Jey Uso, not Jey Uso, sorry, he's about to do it on Roman, but Jey comes back in the ring to, he chair, and he tries to super kick Edge, but Edge hits the spear on him to take him out of the match. But the problem is this distraction is enough for Reigns to be able to get back up, hit the spear on Edge, and then he puts Edge in the concerto, smacks him over the top of the head with the chair, and he stacks Edge on top of Bryan and pins the 2 at the same time to get the win. Now, this match for me, with a finish a little less strange, and I'll explain why it's strange. With a finish that's a little less strange, I would give this 4 3/4 to 5 stars. Like it was that good. It was
yeah.
it was superb by like a big distance. My favorite match of WrestleMania, because they gave it the time it needed. It felt emotional. There's big moments in it. It felt like anyone could have won at points in the match. But then they had to go and ruin it by having a screwy finish. The reason I say it's a screwy finish is because Edge is the man on top of Bryan whose shoulders are down. Edge's shoulders aren't down, and he's covering Bryan, so technically Edge wins.
Yeah.
But Roman is the only one conscious when he's making the pin, so I guess that means he's the winner. But he's not pinning Bryan, he's pinning Edge, but Edge's shoulders aren't down. Like, I don't
It's
get
a
that.
weird finish.
The finish is really, really weird, and it takes away from what to me is one of the best matches I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
Because that
I
match was
agree.
so good all the way up until he did the double stack. Because he could have just pinned Edge. Because the main feud was between Reigns and Edge, right? If he'd have hit the concerto on Edge and then he just pins him rather than doing that double stack shit, then I'd probably be giving this a 4 3/4 or 5 stars, maybe. But it's so unnecessary to do the double stack, and then it also creates complications with ruling because a double stack pin means whoever's the man on top of the person with the shoulders down, they win the match. So
Yeah,
Edge should be Universal Champion, but he isn't because Reigns is the only one conscious. But it's like, if we go back to the Apollo match, Apollo is barely conscious when he makes the pin on Big E, right? Because
yeah,
the big fella drags him on top. Like, Apollo's like out of it because he's just gone through a table, right? Apollo's not the man technically who's made the pin, but he's the man on top, so therefore he gets the 3 count. So by that logic, when Reigns plopped Edge on top of Bryan, the ref should have started counting for the 3. So what's
yeah.
happened here is the ref has had a shitter. He hasn't done his job properly. And to be
It's
fair, I think they are actually working this into the storyline because I was seeing on Twitter, um, who was it? It's like Adam Pearce. He's like the on-screen representative of like the SmackDown booking team or whatever. It's like the SmackDown general manager, maybe. I don't know. Whatever he is, he was tweeting something. Someone like replied to a tweet he made and was like, if you look at it like this, Edge's shoulders aren't down. Edge pinned Bryan, therefore Edge should be champion. And he responded to it saying, that's an interesting take. And then the ref of the match replied to the tweet saying something like, I was only doing my job. I counted the 3 count, and Reigns was the man on top of the pin. And then he said something like, come see me in my office on Friday or something. So I think they're going to work it into the storyline, the fact that the finish is a bit shit.
yeah. But
So,
no,
you know, at least they've acknowledged that the finish is funky because, you know, by all rules of wrestling, technically Edge should be champion, right? Because Robinson should have started counting when he put Edge on top of Bryan, but he didn't. So I don't know.
it's a weird one. But the match was really good.
Oh yeah, no, don't get us wrong here,
It's just a
folks.
weird finish.
The match was superb.
Yeah,
Like, for me, like I say, I'll give it a 4.5 stars. Like, it's really
yeah.
really good. It's just that
Four
finish
and a
takes
half for me.
away. Yeah, it's just the finish takes away from it, and that's a really really big shame. That is because this is the match. This is the match I was most looking forward to because
Yeah,
I wanted to see Edge come back like for a proper match, and I wanted to see what Reigns is like now, like, you know, heel Reigns, and he looked great. Like, he was really really good in this match.
yeah, definitely. Don't know why you got booed, but that's
Yeah, I think that's literally just like, I think that's always kind of going to stick with him. Like, as a heel, I guess it makes sense that they would boo him because he's a heel, but like,
yeah, true.
they were booing him because they're like, Roman sucks, and it's like, well, he clearly doesn't suck. Like, he's been probably the best part of SmackDown for 6 months now. Like, when did he returned? Like September, October time. Like, he's been the best part of SmackDown for ages now.
Yeah,
So it's like, I think they were just booing just because it's been so long since they've been able to boo Roman Reigns, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a force of habit.
But no. So night 2 overall.
Overall, I think it felt a little more varied in its
Yeah.
match quality. I think there were more matches on this that were bad than there were on the last card.
I'm gonna
I
go with a
think
three
I've
three
gone
and
with
a
a 3.5.
quarter.
I've gone with 3.5 here because obviously I did my averages and stuff. But I did notice more. This show had matches that felt shorter, like they
Yeah,
felt too
definitely.
short, rather than the first one. Because Big E and Apollo Crews and Orton versus the Fiend, they felt way too short,
They were too short.
way 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 too short. They really suffered from it. But like the main event was really good. Zayn versus Owens was great. The Rhea versus Asuka match was surprisingly great as well. Like, yeah, I think overall, night 2, you could make an argument that night 1 probably better in terms of like an average thing. But
Yeah.
like, I think, there's only really one, to be fair, across like 2 nights, only one like bad match isn't terrible going for them. I thought there would have been more bad matches, but fair enough.
Yeah.
Because the only bad match was Orton versus Fiend, and then the turmoil match was.
But,
I don't want to say
well,
it was bad. I would say it
it
wasn't
just
good.
wasn't good.
Yeah, it just wasn't
Yeah.
good, but it wasn't terrible. If you know what I mean, like it was serviceable for what it was. It was serviceable.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think I'd give Night 2 3.5 stars, and then I think as like a whole, I'd give WrestleMania probably 3.5 stars as well.
Yeah. That's about
Because
there.
I don't get me wrong, I did enjoy this show quite a lot. I think it was definitely helped by having crowds here, despite the crowd being a bit funky at points. I think it definitely compared to last year's WrestleMania, that one felt really empty.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have any
You
crowd
could tell
sounds for that
something was
one either.
missing.
Yeah, like they didn't even have crowd sounds. Like it was just completely silent last year, and now this year, like having crowds here has absolutely helped the atmosphere feel a little better.
Yeah. 100% agree.
So I would say 37 just edges 36 for me, like in terms of which one was better. I think 36 was good, don't get me wrong, but I think this one, just because it's got the crowds, felt more like an
I just
actual
like the
WrestleMania.
cinematic matches though in 36.
Yes, I think 36, in terms of like uniqueness of matches, 36 was like way better than
It
this.
was
Like we didn't get
very
we, di-
different.
we didn't get any cinematic matches this year, which is a big shame. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what they should have done with Orton and Fiend. Really, is a cinematic match there as well, because
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Just make it weird. See how weird you
yeah,
can make
I'm surprised they didn't reference like the fucking the bugs. Remember they did the bugs for WrestleMania 33. They like fucking had a projector project pictures of bugs onto the floor. I'm surprised they
Oh
didn't
yeah.
reference that. Like, there's a lot more they could have done there, and they just didn't, which really annoys me. But what's happened has happened, and they've had a shit match. So
It's whatever.
hopefully Wyatt moves
It'll-
on to a different feud now. Because
oh please.
I mean, the thing is, who's he going to feud with now? Like fucking Braun Strowman again? Nah.
Apollo.
The- oh my god. There's
That'll
actually,
be
you know what?
carnage.
You know what could happen there? Wyatt's got his like his fiend powers, and then Apollo starts using like voodoo magic and shit to fucking try and
Yes.
combat him.
Oh my god, book it.
Like he gets like a voodoo doll of Bray Wyatt and starts like stabbing it and shit. Oh my god, that would be fucking great. There you go, WWE, book it. Apollo versus Bray, main
I've got
event
your
of
idea.
WrestleMania, main event mania, fucking Apollo versus Bray. Oh,
I want to see it now.
put it in your mind. You fucking voodoo doll of Bray. Oh, but yeah, I think I don't really have anything more to say, do we?
No, that's enough.
Yeah, you know, we enjoyed WrestleMania. I thought it was
We
good.
definitely did.
Um,
But
matches
yeah,
will be not matches. Sorry, shows will be back to normal service next week.
and I'll give my opinions on the matches that I've not seen yet. So
Yes,
definitely
yeah,
stay tuned for that.
yeah. He'll give you his ratings at the start.
But yeah,
But
so
yeah, that's it from us. Leave in the comments down below what you guys thought of WrestleMania if you watched it. You know, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts.
or if you didn't, tell us why.
Yeah,
Tell
if
us
you
why you don't
didn't,
want to watch it.
tell us why. And if it's because you're broke, that's a shame. But yeah, see you guys next week then. Bye bye.
Bye.